When it comes to information literacy, there's a lot that we can learn. Oftentimes we just say, go ahead and Google it. But of course, there are other search engines to look for as well. I recommend taking a look at Wikipedia's list of search engines, and you may want to try this website as well, www.searchengines, oh sorry, www, oops, dot searchenginewatch.com. So this is a good one to take a look at as well. Search engine watch. Okay. Some of the other things that you might want to note is how do you go ahead and conduct a search in a search engine. So one of the things you want to note is quotation marks. Quotation marks when you search ensure that the keywords that you're searching for are part of the results. So if I wanted um, William Shakespeare and I wanted something specific to the Romeo and Juliet, I can quote Romeo and Juliet. So that key term as that phrase is part of the results. Okay. It's also important to note one of the things about Google is it lists the number of results and how long it took. So less than a second. It had 469,000 results. So keywords. I could do Notre Dame, and I could do Hesburgh. So if I wanted anything about Notre Dame, but Hesburgh was the key term, I could click make sure that Hesburgh was part of all those results. If I wanted to narrow that search, I could go ahead and say the Hesburgh Library, which is the main library on campus. So Notre Dame Hesburgh Library. One of the other things you're going to want to note is Boolean search terms. So you have and, or not. So I want Notre Dame Hesburgh Library, not, what would I want not? Not architecture. Okay, so I don't want anything about the architecture of the building. Um, so I could utilize that. I could say not. Other things you're going to want to note would be I want something that is Richland College and um, courses. So it has to have both courses and Richland College. This is kind of an interesting thing to note as well. Sorry, a lot of these is who publishes a particular website. So we're going to go to www.easywhois.com. www.easywhois.com. So with the exception of some higher ed areas like Notre Dame, www.nd.edu, I'll just click to show an example. I can click and look it up, and it's going to tell me, well, this is an edu domain, okay, because this is an edu extension. It's an educational one. I could try to look up www.bishoplynch.org. I'm not a robot. I am not a robot. And it's going to tell me who the owner is. So this is a good quick way to find out who is the owner or the publisher of the website. So the domain name and information about it. So you can use this to help check, is in fact this a reputable website? If I did www.harrypotter.com, I'm not a robot. You might think it's J.K. Rowling or Scholastic. Oops. And you would find, unfortunately, something's wrong with their server. but it would say actually that it's not J.K. Rowling, nor is it the publisher of the book. HarryPotter.com is actually owned by um, Warner Brothers. So I don't think it'll show up right now, but go ahead and try that one on your own. HarryPotter.com. Something else to consider is linked. So, oh, it's back up working again. So here's HarryPotter.com for the Easy Who Is, and if you notice, right, in terms of the ownership, who's registered it, and that it's part of actually the Warner Brothers. So it's more for the movies and not really for the books. Um, this is I find interesting too, like creation. When did this website? When was this website created? So 1998. So this is kind of interesting. Some other things that you might find interesting include site searches. So for instance, I could do site colon, and I could search for how many sites are websites have a Germany extension, so .de, so site colon .de for Deutschland, and that gives me, wow, 3.5 billion websites. I could search for a site, any sites that are nd.edu affiliated, so that gets me 1.4. I could search sites that are, let's see if this works, for bishoplynch.org that have bishoplynch.org as their extension. We're up to 6,000 results. DCCCD, .edu, my fault. So org is organization, edu for higher ed in the United States. So 295,000 results that have that extension. So using the cite feature and searching for Google can be helpful as well. You could also combine this with a plus. So let me go back to dcccd.edu, and I also want it to include the word technology. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in quotes. Actually, my fault. I'm going to put this whole thing in quotes. Oh, I think that's right. Let's see what happens. Oh, no. I just do technology. So this is, we're narrowing, down just not just we want it to have this extension from this DCCCED, but we want it to include the word technology. So those are just kind of some fun facts and things you may have never thought about with regards to information literacy that maybe you've learned now, or things that you can share with your students when you're trying to help them narrow down searches and not simply just tell them to Google it